First of all, one of the aspects of a king is that they wear a crown. And so they have a crown on their head, and people see them and they say, oh, that's the king. Look at the crown he's wearing on his head. Crowns have been a symbol of kingship, of superiority, of power, since probably they first started having people say, I'm a king, or I'm a potentate, or I'm Caesar, or I'm this, or I'm that. They wear a crown. And that crown is, as I say, a symbol to anyone around that he is the king. In the first reading today from Samuel, we hear the story of David. Remember David and Goliath? David is now being sworn in as the king. In fact, it's special because all of the communities, all of Israel has come together. For the first time, it is a unified Israel that is labeling and calling David forward as king of all Israel. So it's an important day, but as great a king as David was, as important a king as David was, he paled in comparison to the king that Jesus is. We're told in the second reading from Paul's letter to the Colossians, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For in him were created all things in heaven and on earth, the visible and the invisible. Whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created through him and for him. This is labeling Jesus as the king of everything, the king of the universe. From the very beginning of time and before time, Jesus was king. And he wasn't just chosen king by the tribes of Israel. He was made king by his Father, God, the creator of all things. So Jesus is king. And we hear that in our first reading. We hear that in our second reading. And so a crown is something that symbolizes, of course, royalty or a king. But did Jesus have a crown? Yes, he did. His crown was a crown of thorns. It wasn't gold, it wasn't jewelry, it didn't have emeralds and rubies on the crown. It wasn't made of gold or some special product. It was a crown of thorns that when they placed it on his head, those thorns dug in so deep that it just started bleeding everywhere. He was wearing this in pain. He wore this crown of thorns that they put on him to mock him. But he wore that crown of thorns nonetheless. It was a crown. And with that crown of thorns, he had more authority and more of a power, because he was there for the beginning of the world until the end. So Jesus had a crown. It was a crown of thorns, and that's a crown that he wore for us.